Welcome back to the Sports Edge Podcast. I'm your host and commissioner, Dan Stanzik. Joining me, two-time SEFFL champion, Justin the Guru Eisner. Guru, thanks for joining me. How are you?
Happy to be here, Dan. Always a pleasure. But happy to be back in my own office. I didn't get kicked out for book club this week, so I'm feeling good. Feeling better, ready to go.
Also joining us, last year's regular season champion, current leader at 3-0, Steve Curtis. Steve, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Thanks for having me, peasants, as I sit atop the perch of first place. Thank you.
Okay, so you decided to go that route right away. I was nice to you at the jump, but I will just throw it right back in your face. Do you know why we wanted to have you on?
Probably because I feel like I'm a, what's the phrase, a paper tiger, so to speak, that this is all bullshit so far for me. Just a guess?
Not exactly right. Not exactly.
I mean, it's you know, what's one of those like the truth comes out when you're drunk kind of thing? Like, did Steve just like rat on himself? Like he doesn't believe in his own
I have had
team?
a few IPAs.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve, the reason we wanted to have you on, and the Guru knows this, I don't know if you listened to the tail end of the Week 2 podcast, but we did discuss having Robbie on again if Robbie was 3-0, just like we did last year. We had Robbie on the podcast after his 3-0 start last year, and it derailed his season. And Guru said, no, I'm not going to let Robbie on. So I said, you know what? Steve's 3-0. Let's derail his season. I don't know if there's any power to this podcast, but if there is, that is why we wanted to have you on. So you fell right into our trap.
For the viewers, I was hoodwinked here. I had no idea that this was a... wow.
We did it, Stan.
Wow. Okay.
There you go.
Where's the end button here? No.
Yeah. Too late. You came on. It's recorded.
Too late. That's it. All we need to do is post this. But thanks for joining us, Steve. We'll go right to the Week 3 recap. And Guru, we'll start with your team. You guys took down the Honey Bijan Badgers 117.5 to about 109. Walsh second in the league in scoring, but currently 1-2. And he had 7 non-quarterbacks on his bench that scored double-digit points this week. Guru, last week we were talking about how nobody has depth. Well, guess what? Apparently Walsh does. I guess that's kind of what happens when you keep 16 guys. I'm going to put this to you guys as simply as I can. Is the GM of the Honey Bijan Badgers leaving the coach out to dry here by not trying to leverage that depth into talent upgrades at key positions? Guru, start with you.
I don't like to play Monday morning quarterback on this stuff, but... on Wednesday night, which is even worse than normal. Is it depth if the guys that are in the lineup aren't scoring? It's not like, but by the way, and if you look at his roster, we'll talk about this later when we talk about Week 4. He did make a lot of switches, right? So he had Keenan Allen on the bench. He had Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnson on the bench, 7th and 5th in wide receiver scoring right now.
Starting them both with Herbert against me this week.
So he's moved all these guys, right?
So, Guru, I just have to jump in here quickly. I did mention that he is second in the league in scoring. So, we can't really knock him for saying, his guys aren't scoring. So he's second in scoring, he's 1-2, and he also had 7 guys on his bench, non-quarterbacks, that scored double-digit points. I don't think anyone else has ever done that.
I think he does need to make some trades here, though. He's got some pieces. He can make some 2 or 3 for 1 trades, I think.
Steve, what do you think? Is GM Walsh letting down Coach Walsh?
I don't think he... I was shocked he kept the 16 guys because I thought maybe 4 of them were actually capable, right?
Yeah.
I think you got to stick with your guys. So I'm top heavy, for example, right? I have my guys, and I'm going to stick with them no matter what. When you have 16 guys, I think you can... Like Guru said, you often second guess yourself. You're sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I don't know that the GM can be blamed, just like I'm not sure the owner can be blamed for spending that kind of money on having so much depth on the bench.
Yeah, I think, Guru, you're trying to get at this. His problem is he has no, game changers. That's kind of what I'm trying to get to, too.
Yeah,
He has a lot of guys that are guys, but he doesn't have a lot of guys that are, gonna score high points every week that are going to carry him. He doesn't have guys that are going to give him a high floor. But he needs to try to package these guys and get those guys. He can't have 7 wide receivers that are all they could score 15 or they could score 3. He needs a guy that's he's going to score 13 plus every week. So good luck. Start wheeling and dealing, Walsh. I mean, you made some trades in the preseason. I think you can do it again during the season, especially now that you're 1-2. Second game to recap: Hunter, I don't even know her, beat Gibbs Me More, 104 to 100. Robbie almost pulled off the comeback on Monday night. Lamar and Jahmyr Gibbs scored 57 points combined. They needed 62 to get past the hands. To make matters worse, James Conner is now out for the year. Robbie's depth will be tested right away. Guru, you were all about Robbie's team last week. How do you feel now, and what do you think he should do to plug that glaring hole in his lineup?
It's gonna be hard. I mean, I think I said last week, even for Robbie, that I thought the depth was rough. And I mentioned last week on the pod that I feel like this season more than ever is going to be like a war of attrition against injuries. Like the team that stays the healthiest is probably going to be the team that wins. Everyone's kind of got their guys and then kind of doesn't have a bench. And I looked at Robbie's team after the James Conner injury here, and I kind of see the thing. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's looking like you got to play 2 tight ends right now. He's probably got to put Njoku in. Now, I'll say on the positive side, it's 3 more weeks he's got to bite the bullet until Rashee Rice. So then he can plug Rashee Rice in. But then you're going to get into bye weeks, right? And we're going to be right back in the same spot where you got to find somebody to plug. So this is going to be tough. But I said last week, as much as I like Robbie, it's all going to come down to injuries.
Steve?
I thought that Guru was higher on Robbie than he should have been last week. I agree that this is just people just need to tread water, honestly, for a few weeks here and get to later in the season, see what the rosters actually look like after all these injuries. I mean, if he has another guy go down, he could be playing for 2026 pretty quickly here. He could be in a position to wheel and deal and really, aggregate some picks and build out that depth for the future. So it'll be interesting to see how his team weathers a storm here over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
I'm going to put game 1 and game 2 together here. Like, shouldn't Walsh be throwing some guys together and be like, let me get Rashee Rice?
I like that move for him. I think that's a great idea.
I'm thinking about it too. I think everybody should throw some offers out there for Rashee Rice and see if Robbie.
I mentioned it last week in Guru's Garage.
You sure did. We'll get to that. We will get to that. Game 3, Destiny's Child told Sale Seas to say my name after they came back to win 135 to 127. The champs, I know that's still tough to hear for some of you guys out there. Steve, we'll see how that sounds to you. Probably, about as terrible as it sounds to Guru and I. The champs traded Jerry Jeudy to Hoban for Tucker Kraft on Tuesday. Guru, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the trade? Who do you think won it?
I think it's kind of a win-win. Kraft was a big upgrade at tight end for Hath, I think. Hoban gets a wide receiver that's playable. We just talked about depth, right? Like if you can get a wide receiver or any position that is a guy you can play week to week, I think you got to feel pretty good about it. So I don't know that there was a huge swing one way or the other. But I guess, I'm always going to be wide receiver over tight end, right? Just in terms of who you pick up. But I think it's a good move for both guys.
Steve?
I think he had Hawkinson, right? So he moved.
He does.
Okay.
Yeah.
He had a couple.
So he offered Kraft to me in the offseason. We couldn't come to an agreement. Hoban then offered me Kraft recently. He made a ridiculous offer. I said no. Anyway, he ends up on Tom's team. I think Tom wins this deal simply because Judy's got to be near 30 now. And who's throwing to him? Flacco, and there's really no succession plan in Cleveland. So I would take a 24 or 25-year-old Kraft with Jordan Love in place over any sort of Cleveland Browns situation.
I believe Jeudy is almost 27, but don't quote me on that. I agree. And I think Hath won the trade pretty significantly. According to Keep Trade Cut, a good resource for dynasty trades, Hath definitely got the better end of the deal. Kraft, they have as the number 4 tight end in dynasty behind Bowers, McBride, and Tyler Warren. They have Jeudy as wide receiver number 40. Hawkinson, who you guys mentioned, he is 26. There you go. I believe he is almost 27, I said. I want to say he is turning 27 within 3 months.
He's born in April.
Oh, okay. A little off on that. There you go. Look at us. Look at us using Google. I think Hoban was wise to turn Kraft into something because he has Bowers, and Jeudy is not nothing, so I'm okay with it. But at the same time, I'm also disappointed in Hoban, whose whole philosophy is double tight ends, and he has 2 good tight ends that he can play every week, and he immediately trades one for Jerry Jeudy. I think I'm more upset with him for bucking his own ideology in this situation.
Are we sure that Bowers isn't going to have a Sam Laporta sophomore year?
Ooh, that is.
I wonder, to your point, shouldn't we have gotten Jeudy and a 2? Go get a draft pick there, right? I don't know that Hoban thinks he's going to compete right now. To your point, Steve, if Bowers does have an off year, we all think he's good. I'm sure he'll be good again next year, right? So, all of a sudden you get a pick plus the guy that you can play. Maybe there was a pick in there.
Maybe another question for another day, but do we have a more active Pat Hoban this year? He is wheeling and dealing in week 3?
Speaking of that, don't want to go back for a second to Robbie. Why isn't Robbie making a free agent pickup after that injury?
That's a good point.
I meant to say that and I forgot. It was in my notes.
I think he was the last one to check out the pod last year. So maybe he's missing all this advice, this free advice that's coming his way, this free entertainment and free advice. We'll move on though. Game 4, the thrill of the chase. Steve, that's you. Took down the Allen Bros 103-86. Another squeaker for Steve. Surprise, surprise. Luckiest team in the league. Allen Bros led the league in scoring in week 1, have scored fewer points in consecutive weeks. Guru, do you think they are more like the team that scored 147 in week 1 or more like the team that has averaged 93 points in weeks 2 and 3?
Which team is this, Steve or Pete?
Pete.
I like Pete's team. I don't know. I think they'll be okay. I think they're obviously going to be somewhere in the middle, but I don't think they're a 90-point-a-week team.
There you go. Steve, we'll just position this question directly to you because it is your team. It is clearly championship or bust for you guys. You are now dealing with injuries to Jaden Daniels. Terry McLaurin might not play this week. Most importantly, a significant injury to CeeDee Lamb. You also have a couple of guys that are pretty important to your team that have not looked so great to start the season. Guru, you can answer this one as well, but we will ask Steve first. Who are you more concerned about, Steve? Breece Hall or Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Marvin Harrison Jr. Before I get to him, Jamar Chase has a backup throwing to him for the rest of the year. So, count that as an injury that hurts my team. I was talking with a couple of managers. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the Kyle Pitts of wide receivers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate him so much right now.
Let the record show you traded him this offseason and then traded to get him back.
I believed. The analogy that I used is he is like the 10 that you meet at the bar that has all of these physical attributes, and you take her home and you only get hand stuff. It is so frustrating to keep him in the lineup. Breece Hall, he is what he is, right? I don't think that he's ever going to, on the Jets anyway, break through. Thankfully, Judkins seems to be a legit impact rookie, so if I need to make a swap, I can. I think one of you said I'm the luckiest team in the league. Unquestionably the luckiest team in the league. I have to get through the next 4 weeks here to kind of see where I'm at. And even CeeDee Lamb hasn't really been great when he's been playing. So there's a lot of question marks for my all-in team this year, and I don't know where it lands. In the past, I felt really good, through 6 weeks. Maybe the opposite will get me a title finally. Who knows?
Guru, you're a Jets fan. What do you think? Should he be more concerned about Breece, or is he right with Marvin?
I said short-term Marvin Harrison, long-term Breece. That's my opinion. Short-term on Marvin Harrison, so the next 7 weeks that he plays, so it's 8 total weeks, one of those is a bye. He's got Seattle twice, Green Bay, and San Fran for those 7 weeks. So I feel like short-term he's still going to keep struggling potentially, but I don't know, it just seems like there's some mouths to feed for Breece Hall in New York. I mean, Fields is going to keep vulturing touchdowns, right? They're going to design runs near the goal line. They like Braylon Allen. So I think long-term Hall is probably more concerning if I'm Steve, but short-term, I don't think the Marvin Harrison Jr. thing is going to get any better soon. It might get better long-term, though.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, Steve, I think he might be onto something. He might be the Kyle Pitts. I think that's a very apt comparison. Last game to recap, Bowers Castle took down the Stanzex 104-99. Not sure if you saw this, guys, but the Commish tried to beat Hoban at his own game. I started Tyler Warren at tight end and Travis Kelce in the flex. Did not work out, so the multiple tight end method is now 0-1 on the season. Interested in your answers to this question. Steve, we'll start with you. Can you think of any other strategic ideas teams might try to implement in the future? I have a couple, but this is a little tricky. You really got to think about this. If you need more time, we'll go to the Guru. You look like you are.
I mean, so for the viewers, Dan texted me at 3 this afternoon. I didn't get back to him until 6 o'clock Eastern or something like that. No homework. I guess the popular strategies are sort of zero running back, which we can't really do. We have 2 running back spots. I'm kind of doing that. I have wide receivers in all my flex positions. So I guess that's an option. Walsh could roll that out, given all the depth that he has. You can't play 2 quarterbacks. Okay, multiple tight ends, whatever. I don't really know of any other creative strategy that he could roll out.
Guru, you got anything?
Yeah, well, funny enough, I did think of one just now. I completely misread this question, so I'll give you my answer to the question I thought I read earlier. Classic Guru on the pod situation. I think maybe we saw. Well, we don't know if it's going to work. We might have saw one play out with Walsh, which is like, do you just keep a crap ton of people because there's no waiver wire, right? Like, I dumped a crap ton of fab this week on Tucker, mainly because like I don't know, he might be playable, and I don't know if you're going to get all that many playable guys on the waiver wire unless there's a random injury. But most of us have the backup running backs of people at this point, right? That we've stashed. So like, where's the fab budget going to go? Was sort of my thought this week when I dumped a lot of it on a complete flyer. So maybe there's something to like keeping way more guys than we're used to people keeping.
It's an expensive strategy, but you could be honest. I think we could just be in discussions about adding the number of keepers that are the minimum.
Yeah,
I think we might be onto something there. Here are a couple ideas for you that I thought of that teams could try, and I will quickly add a third just based on what Steve said. Why wouldn't a team go all in on running backs? Like we tend to think like it's a wide receiver league now. Like you have wide receivers in all your flexes. Why wouldn't a team try to get like 6 really good running backs, trade their great wide receivers, and then have all 3 flex spots running backs, and then they have a ton of running backs, and they could trade running backs and get other players? Maybe easy to say, hard to do. Yeah. Something else teams could do: get an entire offense. Like if you had, let's say, let's pick a team. If you had Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and Dallas Goedert, and you're just like, if the Eagles are good, my team's going to be good. I'm surprised no team has tried that before. Something to look into. I don't know. I do it with Mahomes and Kelsey. It's not working out too well for me. But if I had all of the Chiefs, maybe. Another strategy that I have seen in a different league, and we don't talk about different leagues. This one's a little more, need a little more brain power for this one. But something that someone did in another league is they had 2 really good quarterbacks and they had 2 really good tight ends. And they didn't play the really good tight end, the second really good tight end, and obviously they couldn't play the second quarterback. And I was like, why does he do this? And then I thought about it for a while, and I'm like, let's say, Guru, you had Trey McBride and you also had Brock Bowers, and you only played one. And let's say you had Jaden Daniels and you had Josh Allen, and you only played one. And you're like, wait, why would you do that? Why would you keep those guys on the bench? Well, what you do is you have an elite quarterback and you have an elite tight end, and that removes another elite quarterback and another elite tight end. So the chances that you lose at those positions are severely diminished every week of the season. Interesting strategy. I don't know if that worked. I don't know if anyone had any other ideas, but
the running back one feels tough only because, like, how long in this league would it take you to acquire 6 good running backs? And by the time you did that, the chances that all 6 are still relevant is probably low, right? Like the first 2 you got are probably done by the time you get the 6th, and then you never really get that sort of full gamut of guys. But Danzig, when I read this question, I thought it said, what strategic ideas do we have for your team? I didn't see.
Oh, no. And
I just said I would recommend sticking with this voodoo doll thing you're doing, where you were able to get James Conner injured this week and
Trey Benson, baby,
fall backwards into Trey Benson. I was like, if you do that 1 or 2 more times, you'll be okay.
I didn't fall backwards. I kept.
I'd recommend.
I drafted him last year, and I kept.
I'd recommend not trading with me because historically it hasn't worked out for you. Maybe stop doing that, but.
Yeah, good call. That's a good one.
It also has prevented you from winning a title, so it's been that part's been working out very well for me. All right, we're moving on to a segment that I just labeled potpourri because there's nothing tying the strength together. It is just a Jeopardy fan here, just straight up potpourri. So, Guru, Steve, question number 1.
Go.
Have there been more Fairfield alums that have made it to the major leagues or to the NBA?
Just on recent memory, my gut would be the major leagues.
Same.
Okay. Why do you say that?
I feel like somebody got drafted into MLB recently. I don't know anyone off the top of my head that was playing in the NBA.
Well, to be clear, we're not talking about like the professional leagues in China, right? We're talking about the American National Basketball Association.
We're talking about the NBA, and we're talking about Major League.
Yeah, I think
we're talking about the AA Fisher Cats. We're talking about like the show.
Yeah. I'll stick with my answer. There's also way more people on a Major League Baseball roster than on an NBA roster, so if I'm playing the percentages.
A great point. I'm sticking with baseball, and whatever the number is, it can't be higher than 2.
Steve, I was going to say, it's a trick question. The answer is 2 for both.
Oh, wow.
In the NBA, a guy named A.J. Winder played 6 games for the Celtics in 1991, and I can't believe you guys didn't mention this and didn't remember this. Our old friend Dang Guy played 2 games for the Philadelphia 76ers in 2006. Now, the reason I thought of the question, I guess we'll do this first guy first. Major League Baseball, there was a guy named Keith Cato, who was a second-round pick of the Reds in the 80s, and just this week, a guy named Austin Pope was called up by the Diamondbacks. I think he was a 2019 Fairfield grad. So a recent baseball player was just called up. He's the second Fairfield alum to make it to the show. As of now, I don't believe he has entered a game, but hopefully he will with 5 games remaining in the season.
In this segment, Dan, do we have other Fairfield questions? Because I got a good Fairfield thing for you here.
Oh, please. And Steve, I believe you have a Fairfield story.
I got a story. We'll save it to
Guru,
the end.
Guru, you jump right in there. Go ahead.
Well, it's relevant to Fairfield. I got sent I don't know if anyone follows any different accounts or whatever, random stuff from Fairfield on Instagram, but I got sent something from some esteemed Fairfield alum, actually Kevin Curtis, not the brother of Steve Curtis, but former Recplex All-Star referee. They've started some tradition in the townhouses called soap hockey. Have you seen this?
I've seen this.
No.
It looks incredible. I'll have to send out as a follow-up on the email, Dan. When you send the pod out, I'll resend the link to Instagram. But they basically, in one of those kind of like where my townhouse was, like that 12, 13, 11, where there's like that quad, they put out this massive tarp, and they soap down the tarp, and they have 2 goals, and they have like teams and a bracket, and everyone gets drunk seemingly and stands outside. The weather was beautiful, and it's like a big slip and slide hockey tournament.
Wow.
It looks incredible.
Sounds
Absolutely
amazing.
incredible. It seems to be some kind of fun. I think it's a fundraiser for something, but I don't know how it doesn't get shut down. It looked like quite a party.
God bless these college kids. Always coming up with great ideas.
Yes.
Steve, do you want to hop in with your Fairfield story here? I know you're in Philadelphia.
I'm in Philly right now. Terrible city. Not sure why Hoban's so proud of this place, but my cousin hosted me for some golf. We took caddies, and I'm getting introduced to my caddy. I was like, "You look really, really familiar. Not just I've seen you around, or you have a normal face." I don't know if the name Brian Opala means anything to either of you or to any of the listeners. He's a 2008 grad. Comes to
Awkward.
a little awkward, I guess. He's loving life. Doing the caddy thing. Okay, all the power to him. Yeah, he caddied for me today.
Did he know you?
Oh, we knew instantaneously when I brought that up. He's like, "Where'd you go to college?" It's like Fairfield U. He's like, "Steve Curtis." I was like, "Brian Opala?" Yeah.
Oh,
you got the name? That's very
Oh
impressive.
yeah, right
Yeah.
from the jump. Yeah.
Wow.
I have told many people stories like this, and it's very self-serving, but it has happened to me multiple times where I have asked someone, "Oh, where did you go to college?" And they say Fairfield. I say, "What year?" They say, "08," and my immediate thought is, "Oh fuck."
Yeah.
I don't know them, but they sure as hell know who I am.
Yep.
It has not served me.
Yeah,
too well.
thankfully we avoided the awkwardness. But as I was telling Dan on the pre-show, I also saw but did not speak to Greg Costa when I was in the area down here. So yeah, a lot of nostalgia today.
The Stags, I love it. Look at that. Philly's not so bad after all. All right, so I listen to occasionally a fantasy football podcast, not necessarily for the fantasy content. I just think it's very entertaining. But they do this segment called Fantasy Court, which I find very interesting. They have listeners send in, issues within their fantasy league, and then they weigh in on it. So I want to give you a recent one from Fantasy Court. This is the Ringer Fantasy Football Show, if anyone's curious. So this guy emailed in. He said, "Hey, for my league, longtime league, we finally decided, hey, we want to do a trophy, and we want to, champions, or, remember the league, etch their name in the trophy." So last year was supposed to be the first year of the trophy. And they go to the finals, and these 2 teams had agreed ahead of time to split the pot, and they just emptied their entire roster, so they didn't start anybody. So nobody won. It was a tie. Money was paid out. They got their money. And now they want their names on the trophy as co-champions. And the commissioner is saying, fuck no, and not doing it. What do you think the right result should be? Should they get their names on the trophy? Should they not? Where do you weigh in? Guru, go ahead.
Wow. I was going to say, I thought where that was going was, can we pay them out? I think we have to pay them out.
They've been paid out.
Okay. I think...
Coward move, by the way.
If I was the commissioner, I think I would refuse to put their name on the trophy. I would void it. It'd be a lockout year.
And just kick the can to the next year and say,
I would almost put void, like literally mark it. If it's all marked,
commemorate it some
I
way.
might mark it void or something. I'd come up with something funnier than that, but I would commemorate it as the year the spirit was broken.
Steve?
I agree 100%. There's no chance that they should have their names on the trophy. I mean, the payout itself, I've seen this happen. I get it. But to actually empty the rosters and just do this so brazenly is it's weak. I think we see punishments for other football leagues. I'd like to see something that they have to do before they're even allowed to participate in the league again the next year.
I think it's also like bad foresight by them to not realize this would happen. Like, if you really wanted to split the money that bad, they should have just agreed to split the money
and then played it out.
The rosters, somebody gets their name on the trophy, somebody doesn't, but everybody gets paid out. And nobody knows any better.
Do we know how much money it was?
I hope it was a lot.
If you're going to do that, it needs to be like a rent payment for the month amount of money. If you're doing this for a couple $100, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I was going to say, what's the number? For me, I would say I have to be winning 5.
Well, that's the question, right? At what point are you going to say, I can't go without this? When do I split it?
And what is second? What is the difference between first and second? Yeah.
I think if it's like 10 grand pot and you're either winning 5 or winning nothing, I think that's probably the number where I would like consider doing something like that. But I certainly wouldn't expect my name on the trophy.
Right. Good carriages of justice here by us guys. I'm proud of you.
I like that.
Steve, this one's going to be just for you. Guru, feel free to chime in if you'd like. But I don't know if you guys have saw this. The bottom of the standings, the Sanzix, they're 0-3. I will remind you guys that Hath was 0-3 last year, went on to win the title. The Guru suggested that I blow things up last week in Guru's garage. Do you think that is the right move? Should I just be selling players for picks? Like, what do you think the right course of action is here as you look at my team?
Let Guru jump in for a second. Let me take a look at your roster. I didn't do any homework.
I will just tell you after the draft. You know how Yahoo does projections of like what the team's records are going to be? They had my team as going 14-1 or 13-1 or something and winning.
I'm looking at your roster. How are you in last place?
Steve.
All right. So hold on. I know Jefferson has a rookie throwing to him and now has a backup. Yeah. Neighbors, who knows if the dart move is going to do something for him. McCaffrey's been doing stuff. AJ Brown's been fine, but I feel like the Eagles in general haven't been great so far. Maybe not explosive. No, I would not say you blow things up. I think Mahomes is killing you, to be very frank. But I would stay the course.
Okay, I like it. Guru, have you changed your mind?
I gave my opinion last week, but I will say I think I would still be patient for a little bit. I just think blowing it up might come, but the fact that you just got Trey Benson is a huge lift. Huge lift. With that, plus some of these guys potentially waking up a little bit, I wouldn't freak out just yet. But I think like the only solution I think is to blow it up if it continues this way. I just don't think it's going to.
There you go. All right, last one in potpourri. Guru, you're a Mets fan.
Yes.
The Mets, at the time of this recording, I don't know if their game is over. I have not been checking, and then my Blue Jays lost the Red Sox. Let's not talk about it. The Mets had a one-game lead for the final wild card spot in the National League. Do you think they're going to make the playoffs?
Well, they're currently losing pretty badly. I believe the Reds are the ones chasing them, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? They are currently tied in the bottom of the 10th, and they're the home team. So that doesn't look good. So I would say potentially by the time this podcast airs, we might be tied for the wild card spot.
Who has the tiebreaker? I should know this.
I don't know who has the tiebreaker, but I don't think it looks great. I don't think it looks great, Dan. I'm gonna say no.
Okay, that's too bad.
Yeah,
that's
heartbreaks for you.
Yeah, Steve, you're a Red Sox. Do you follow the Red Sox anymore?
No, I do. I mean, it's
because they're like relatively comfortably going to make the playoffs.
They still got to beat Detroit. Yeah, they are. They have a little cushion. Yeah. The win tonight helps. I mean, I hadn't watched in a little while, but the Roman Anthonys of the world have definitely ignited more interest in the team. It's just tough in LA. I'm not going to pay for MLB TV, so.
There you go. That makes sense. All right, we
a Mets game this year, which was exciting, and it was actually a good game. So I did have that. That's basically been the highlight of the Mets season for me, is being able to go to a game.
It's their highlight too, that you were in the stands for that one game.
I think it was. It's a great game. Great game. Nice little comeback win against the Angels.
Guys, we got a pretty good Week 4 slate here. I'll run through the games, and if you guys want to throw some winners at me, feel free. But we got Guru's Man Rockets getting called into the doctor's office to face the LCs. A finals rematch, Steve, between the champ, Hath, and you. How do you feel about us referring to Hath as the champ? You didn't weigh in on that earlier. I'll ask you now.
I hate every single part of it.
Okay, just making sure. We also have the Allen Bros looking to stop their skid. They're taking on Hunter. I don't even know her. Last 2 games, not as appealing, but Bowers is Castle, squares off against Gives Me More. And finally, the Stanzics, desperate to get out the Schneid, going up to Boston to face the Honey Bichon Badgers. So, Guru, just give me some winners quickly. We can go in that order if you'd like. We got you against Sal C's. I assume you're going to pick yourself. It'd be weird if you didn't. Hath against Steve. Who do you like?
Okay, I'll run right down. I'm taking Sal C's. I think
Emotional hedge.
Yeah, I think Hampton without any competition in the backfield against the Giants feels like a chance to blow up there for him. So I like Sal C's in a close one. I was kind of rooting like for Hath and Steve. Like, could we get a tie? Is that maybe possible? Like, yeah, I'll take Hath just because I can't pick Steve, but it kills me either way. Allen Bros and Hunter. I like Zans in this one, although he does have the double tight end going at the moment. At least the last time I checked. He had 2 tight ends in, so that gives me some pause. But we got 2 big quarterbacks going at it in that one. I like Zans. Bowers Castle gives me more. Hoban, a heavy favorite, according to Yahoo. But I did notice that's because, again, going back to my point earlier about Robbie, he still has James Conner in his lineup, so he's getting a 0. So, but I think even if he plays someone off the bench, it doesn't close the gap all the way, if I remember correctly, when I was looking at this earlier. So I'm going to take Hoban because of the injuries. And then finally, Stanzics and Walsh. I like the Stanzics. I like the Zics here. They're going to get the first win. I think Benson, we talked about it earlier, but Benson, no Connor, is going to be a big piece here. Also, Walsh, I think I alluded to this earlier. Walsh did move all those guys into the lineup.
The Chargers guys.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel like one of those weeks where all those guys come down as you put it back in the lineup? It feels like classic fantasy. Walsh punching a wall, right? So I like Stanzics.
Steve, I will give you one matchup to pick a winner for. It's going to be Team Europe against Team USA in the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black. Who do you like?
It's tough.
I will say, I will preface it with this. I had a little golf weekend with some high school buddies this past weekend in New Jersey, and my friends told me that they put money on Team Europe as an emotional hedge and said that team is way better, and I said, fuck you guys, you can't do that.
I wouldn't ever put money on Team Europe because I think it's anti-American. Now, I will be there on Sunday, actually. I'm going to Sunday singles.
Steve,
I'm having a good week. I'm going to Sunday singles.
Like Marion today?
I will absolutely be rooting against Patrick Cantlay vocally and outwardly. It's going to be hard to not root for Rory in the moment.
Yeah.
I think we will pull it out only because it's a home game. I think it's going to be very close going into Sunday singles. And hopefully me and the masses can drag them over the finish line. But Team Europe wants this more. I'm confident in that, and that's true every single year.
Yeah, it should be fun, though. I was trying to explain to my wife and children, like, this is the one golf event where we root against Rory.
Yes.
And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, we're Team USA. I mean, we root for USA. He's Team Europe. We can't do it. So it should be good. Should be an exciting weekend. Steve, thank you for doing this. Guru, thank you for hopping on, as always.
Thanks for the jinx.
There we go. Good luck to everybody in week 4. We'll talk to you next week.